Hello and welcome to a new video in the water series. In this one I want to show you how you can map a slipway, which is where you can launch your boat into your water. And I will use an example in Bagnallstown in County Carlow, which I discovered wasn't mapped when I was mapping along the River Barrow with the new Bing imagery. And I'll show it to you first on the Bing imagery, and then I'll show you how to do it in EveryDoor, in OSMAnd, and then finally in the ID editor on your computer. This is what it looks like. There's a parking space already mapped, which you might have to do as well. And the slipway is this part here. You can see that the water comes up. And then there's some yellow boxes where you're not supposed to park, which is sometimes a problem, that people aren't aware that people who want to launch a boat have to drive their reverse with their car into the slipway and then release the boat into the water. So sometimes they're a bit parked up, so just keep that in mind when you're parking your car to go for a walk along the river or a canal. So these three seem to be parking spots, but these are yellow boxes. But we're not going to map the yellow boxes, just the slipway here. And I'll go out of this again and show you on the wiki how to do it. So it's documented in several languages because it is quite important to map those. So the key is leisure, and the value is slipway, so leisure equals slipway. And it's explained here how to map it, and there are different ways of doing it. The most important tag obviously is the leisure slipway, but there are apparently some different ways of how you do it. It depends a bit on which app you use or which technology, of course, because in EveryDoor and in OSMAnd you can't draw lines, so you have to use a node. But if you do it on your computer, of course, you can draw lines. And one way of doing it is, as it says here, draw a line and then add highway equals service. And on the final node, the one that's closest to the water, I presume, and add leisure slipway. That's one way of doing it. That's not a way I would do it. You can also draw the line, add highway service, and then add a sub tag service equals slipway, but you still have to add leisure equals slipway. So that's usually what I do. I just draw either just the line of the whole slipway, obviously when I'm using my computer, not an OSMAnd, and draw the line and add leisure slipway onto it. And I might have sometimes not put highway service on it as well. And when you're using OSMAnd or EveryDoor, of course, you can only use the node, and then you only use the tag leisure slipway. You can't add highway service to a node. And you can read up on that. It's a little bit confusing. But what's also important is that you add the access, whether it's private or public. And the tag is not access equals public, but it is access equals yes. So that means public access. And then sometimes you get private access once. And then sometimes, apparently, you have to pay a fee to launch your boat. I haven't come across that along the Barrow, but that's entirely possible. Maybe if it's part of a club or something like that. And you can also add the surface, which you can only do when you're there and you can see it. It's hard to see it in the satellite imagery. So we'll start mapping it in EveryDoor. I won't save it because I can only map it once, but we'll try EveryDoor. So I've zoomed in and I might just tap down here where it says no data, tap here to download, even though I'm fairly sure it's not mapped yet. But I suggest you do that every time you go there. So the slipway would be here. So you move the map on your screen around until it is there. You don't have to do it right now, but then you click on the blue plus at the bottom right corner. And then you can still fix the location. So you move it to where it ends. Another reason why I think it makes more sense to draw a line is because if you have a tidal river, the water comes up to a different height, or, if it has rained a lot, like at the moment in Ireland. So I think it makes more sense it's more precise to have a line, or even what I've done, draw the whole area of the slipway so you have the width as well. Anyway, you find the location by moving around the map on your screen and then click the blue tick here. That sets the location, and then you can look for slipway. And it comes up here, letter equals slipway, that's what we want. And you see it gives you the option to add a surface, which I don't know. And this one would be public. And I don't know if there's a fee, I presume not, but you never know. So I won't add that tag. And because I don't know if there's a fee, I can also not add the payment type. And then you can click on more fields and see if there's anything else you can add. I don't know if it's lit or not. I don't know if they're opening hours and all these kinds of things. I don't know. So I can't add any of those. So I will just hit save. So it has added this dot now, and it's kind of a dark blue, purplish blue. And then you would have to hit the upload button here, which I won't do because I still want to map it in OSMAnd. So now we'll go to OSMAnd, and I have the regular map view on. I'll change to the nautical one, which I've explained in a previous video, the first one actually. There is a quicker way to do it, but I'll do it this way here. So now it looks like this, kind of yellow and blue. And it doesn't have the parking lot mapped now, even though that would be kind of important when you're using the slipway. And here you find the location of the slipway on your map, and then hold your probably index finger on your screen, and this marker pops up, and you can go to actions. I'll just pull this up here so you can see it easier. Actions, and then create POI. And in the POI type, you type slipway. And then you have to add all the tags that you want to add from memory, like access and surface and so on. If you're planning to go back home and to map it as a line, but you're there and you see the surface, it makes sense to add the surface now. So then you can just copy and paste that onto the line. But again, I don't know what the surface there is, so I can't map it. I presume it's concrete, but I don't know. And then you have to hit save at the bottom right, which only saves it within OSMAnd, and you then still have to click upload, which again I won't do now because I want to map it in ID. So that's how you would do it in OSMAnd. But now we're going to actually map it in the ID editor. So I'm zoomed in on that location still, and I'll go into the editing mode. And I'll draw a line, and I'll draw it slightly into the water, just in case. Here. I'll end it here because the surface of the road changes. It looks to be asphalt there. So I'll just draw the line to here, add the tag service road, and then type slipway, which isn't one of the options, but it said it here that I can use service equals slipway. And then, very important, still have to add the letter slipway. If you have a measuring tape on you while you're there, you can also measure the width, because that's sometimes important because different boats have different width. And then we'll add another piece here because we have to connect it to the main road. This is another bit of service road, just regular service, and then we'll continue it here and turn here because it looks like there's a wall here and we can't drive through the wall. Well, we shouldn't anyway. So I'll add that as a service road. I could have drawn the whole line. The reason why I didn't do it is because this bit is actually, this bit here is parking aisle, because you see there are these three cars parked, and I'll add that as parking aisle as well. And I'm sure there's mooring along here. We'll see if there's any Bing Street View or Mapillary, because I didn't walk that far when I did survey in Bagnallstown. I have a bit here, so we might continue this wall. So there's a gap there, and then the wall continues. And then I'll just add this live ring here. I'm planning another video on this, but I don't want to miss out on it while I see it. And there might be an interesting sign here. No, well, not for this topic anyway. But then we have another bit of wall here. There's the serviceway entrance, and then there's actually... Well, there's a container on this imagery, which is July 2020, but I think the Bing imagery is more recent, so I won't add it. And then we have a bit more wall here. Now I'll have to draw it all the way. And there are probably picnic tables here. And this tree here seems to be a cherry tree. Don't know why they planted those cherry trees along the River Barrow. And yeah, we can't really see much of the slipway. There are a lot of signs there, which someone should probably, like tourist information signs. There's probably a map here of the Barrowway and more information and a guidepost there. I'll add the guidepost. And these yokes here, they are information signs about the history of Bagnallstown. It's like a Bagnallstown heritage trail or something, but I don't know what it says, obviously. But it could be relating to this. I presume it is a mill building, because it probably doesn't relate to the slipway. Anyway, getting distracted again. But there is a fence. Maybe we'll add that to the slipway. Yeah, there is a fence here. Barrier features fence and its railing. Well, it does very much look like concrete, but the quality of the image is not really great. That's Bing and Mapillary. Yeah, it's not that great either. Also, it's not pointing the way it should. Anyway, so that's the slipway done. Let's just check if I actually did have this. Why is this complaining? It's fine now. But I have leisure slipway. That's what we came here for. So I'll save this. Added slipway, fence, roads. What else did I add? Live ring, etc. in case I forgot something, and the hashtag waterways. And upload that. And if I wait for a little while, as usual, and refresh the page, it should show the slipway symbol. And it is usually displayed at the end of the line. Something I noticed. Now it's there. So you see it has the drive or the serviceway going into the water a little bit, and the symbol here, which doesn't seem to be rendered fully. It's supposed to look like this, like a boat going into the water. But it has the fence now, and doesn't have the tree I've just added. There it is. And so now the symbol is done properly, and we have the guidepost, the tree, and the different types of service ways. So the parking aisle one is a bit thinner than the regular service road. That's why it looks a bit funny. So that's that done, and it should be shown on the OSMAnd nautical map style. But that's how you map a slipway, and I would ask you to map them when you're walking along the Barrowway or wherever, if they're not mapped yet, because it's, you know, it's something that's important to have. It's much more important than some of the other stuff I'm talking about. But you know, every map has its audience, I'd say. So thank you very much for watching, and keep safe, and I shall see you soon again. Slán go fóill.